Bryce Oquaye, one of my pretty old friends here in Lexington, art scene. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you, brother?
Oh, I'm doing the things now.
I know.
As you say, all the things.
He's doing all the things. All the things, man.
So you're a pretty well accomplished artist here in Lexington. Got a studio down here at the Loudon House. Mm-hmm. Where'd you start out, man? Just no frills. I'm just getting right to it, man.
Yeah.
Tell me about the beginnings of your nonsense.
Beginnings of my nonsense. Child Bryce, and every artist gonna tell you that. Well, I gotta take that back. I've been listening to a lot of like artist interviews and stuff here recently as I've been kind of like kindling the flames. Yeah. And I'm seeing where some artists have been like, yeah, I wasn't really trying to rock with anything until I was about high school, college. I'm like, what? That's crazy to me. For me, I was pretty young. I was just a little dude. I learned how to reading comics.
Right.
And then anime was starting to become a thing and video games and all that. So like I was literally just like surrounded by all of these different things that immediately spoke to me and inspired me to just be creative. And this was I place storytelling on these things. I place my style on these things. I don't know. I just wanted to draw.
So I would say you think that a lot of living in Queens. You're a Queens kid, right?
Yes.
So what kind of influence did you take from your surroundings back then?
Well, immediately hip hop's number one for me. Like, and that's because my mother was a hip hop fan. So between actually my mom was a comic fan at that time too. So it's funny because like the things that I do are very much like ways that my mom was just like, here's how we're gonna occupy this kid. So it was hip hop music. I was always in love with like graffiti and street art because you just see it all the time, and I thought it was amazing. And then like comic books, Spider-Man comic books, old X-Men joints and stuff like Doctor Strange, Heroes for Hire, all those things captured my attention. And comic books in particular, again, that's how I learned how to read. Like coming from a family where there was a few people within my family and then also just in my area where like English isn't everybody's first language. And my mom, she just remembered that being a major part of her reading and, grasping certain ideas of language and stuff. So that was her thing, was like, hey, and you don't really hear about that a lot where somebody's like, I want to teach this kid how to read. What are they going to do? They're going to hand you basic chapter books, things like that for kids' reading levels. My mom was like, nope, I'm going to give him Fantastic Four and that type of thing.
Mom did that with me too.
Yeah. Because they look at it different, as far as people that are kind of looking at art in general as a way to communicate. I think, that's how my mom kind of saw those things. So that immediately turned into... that just changed everything for me. So I looked at literature, storytelling, everything first from a visual perspective, very, very immediately. And then like by the time I discovered anime, changed everything.
Being a Gen X kid, I will attest to anime being at the forefront of my creativity. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't know Transformers, G.I. Joe is technically came out of anime.
Well, it is. Because because all the early stuff that was coming out, like, specifically, I'd say a bulk of it in the 80s, all of those joints, those were all ways for people to sell toys to kids. We know that. So the first thing that they would do is they would send off these Monster of the Week type scripts and stuff to these Japanese animation studios that just had mastered the ability to make like high level animations episodically. So then, yeah. So like Voltron, Battle of the Planets, all those things. Some of those were like chopped up Japanese franchises. But then a bunch of stuff that we just knew uniquely as, oh wow, these are high level cartoons. It's like, nah, this the real Ghostbusters. That's Japanese animation.
Yeah.
Like, well, Power Rangers is technically Super Sentai.
Super Sentai,
It's live action. But like Ronin Warriors and things like that, we snatching Japanese franchises, Americanizing them, all those things, the video games and things. So like people were anime fans before they knew it. But I was a little kid coming up at the time when they were specifically like, this is Japanimation.
So those influences, along with maybe the graffiti style around where you're from, I can see, I don't have anything visual for the podcast, but I can see that those two things come together very much so in your style of artwork.
Oh yeah. It's like how I look at just like coloring work, I think is a reflection of animation and graffiti pretty immediately. And then the way that I see action, all those things, it's animation, it's very it's hip hop and just the soundtrack that I'm playing in my mind and those types of things. Yeah. It was it was very early for me. I knew pretty young that like I really wanted to do something creative. I knew that was going to be my route.
So having that foundation of you as an artist, you as a kid and your influences, how did you end up in Kentucky?
Well,
that's kind of a wild jump from Queens to Central Kentucky.
Yeah, not facts. Well, we moved around a lot because my mother at that time, we're in Queens, and the environment was not a great environment, and you find that like my mom would always try, anytime she could get a leg up or something, we're gonna go somewhere else. If we could be close to family, we could be close to family and stuff. So we just was always moving, and we were moving different places within the city. And then my mom knew she wanted to get us out of New York because things were kind of getting really, out of hand. And, I have family members that, been incarcerated, things like that,
right.
Lost friends and stuff. So she was like, we're gonna get just generally out of the city. And first time leaving New York, we wound up in North Carolina, but we were in like Raleigh, Durham. So we just like went to a smaller city where we were still in the city.
Yeah.
So then from there, that was a route that we took before we had even hit Kentucky.
Yeah, I didn't know about North Carolina.
Oh yeah. We had a complete detour because she was trying real hard, and a lot of people when you're living in like places like New York and stuff, when that becomes the unaffordable place to be, you run into the South. Like everybody, especially at that time, where it's like where do Black people live? And, you're looking at like major cities in the North, and then you're looking at like Atlanta, North Carolina, places like that,
where Black folks are,
where Black people are, and that's where
where Black folk are,
and we're Caribbean, so I found out just how much of that exists in the Carolinas and things. So it just made a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. And then that did not work out whatsoever. So we wound up,
disastrous.
Oh yes, it did not go well. Like that, being in North Carolina, because we were still in the city, but now we're in a city that was unfamiliar, and there's no family nearby. So, yeah, that's when, it ripped that Band-Aid, but then my mother was like, okay, we're either we're going back home, or we got to figure something else out, yada, yada, yada. Even entertaining going to the islands. you know. And then my uncle was a ex-military dude, and he wound up here in Kentucky. He had went through Virginia and wound up in Kentucky, and he just so happened to be bailing on a spot. Somehow or another, we were able to kind of acquire a lease or something. It was like a very last minute thing, and I had no idea we were going to wind up in Kentucky.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
so between New York, North Carolina, back to New York, then boom, Kentucky. No warning, no nothing. We just like we here, and yeah, it was crazy.
So now you're in KY, living Richmond, right?
I was in Richmond, yeah,
Richmond, Kentucky. Now, where is it that you had decided? It may have been earlier in your life. You had decided that this art thing was going to be all that you were about. Well, at least not all that you were about, but
yeah,
a large portion of your life.
I think I decided that very young, man. Like for real, that was just the only. I felt that was the only way I could really like speak clearly. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of. It was. I found out very early. I was going to a school at one point in time where it was kind of like it was like a rollover, like alternative school. So like in the city where they would have like if you had like too many kids in one district and then they start spreading kids out or
Busting
whatever.
you out.
Yeah, and we were at one point in time we were going to a school that was like an old fire department, like an abandoned fire department type thing. They tried to fashion it into some level of school, and it was a mix of kids that could not fit all in X amount of districts, and they were alternative school kids or whatever. And it was bumpy, but we made it work.
Right.
And then right as everybody started to make it work, decisions were being made as to whether or not we would even have that. So it was like this really crazy scenario of like, yo, the second you turn what is quote unquote trash into some level of treasure for yourself, they come along and then they want to like
make it trash again.
Yeah. So
like that episode of Hey Arnold when they fixed up that vacant lot, turned it into a baseball.
You feel me? No, actually.
And then here comes grown-ups.
You know what's funny?
They ruined it.
What's funny is that's Hey Arnold's in New York.
Right?
That's uniquely an experience that like if you don't live in any level of like urban environment, that just looks like some kid stuff. But like that was actually that's actually kind of parallel in a lot of ways. Now, granted, it wasn't so much of a happy ending, but it was a bunch of us that was like, nah, man, like that's not cool. And we did we wrote a bunch of stuff, made a bunch of art, did all these things, and then took it over to like our city council or whatever. We did this whole big presentation, kids from my school trying to just save our school.
Wow.
And it worked, except it only worked for the rest of the year. So they were gonna close doors on us pretty immediately, and we were able to finish out the school year and stuff. But at that moment in time, making all of this like artwork and writing all these things, and just that's the only things that we knew how to do to get them to hear us, and they heard us enough to allow us to just get by. I was like, okay, there's something to this.
All right. So growing up, you knew art was your path, right?
Yeah.
So
in some way.
As a young adult, okay. Not so young these days, right?
Nah. young to some.
Young to me. But as a young adult, how was the pivot from doing a regular to some 9-to-5 type of gig, working for someone else, to going, I'm going to do this for me, and I'm going to make this how I live. This is my income now. This is my passion now, and this is be 100% of my time. What was that pivot like for you?
I guess it's kind of like a similar thing of like just kind of having to acknowledge the impact of like what art and storytelling and stuff does. I think it's like a situation, the situation I was in at the time when I like finally pushed that button. Shout outs to our homie Alex that was working with me at the time. And we're comics dudes. We doing live art at this point. I've been doing enough of this stuff to like have been. I was doing graphic design for different places,
Right.
And I have made an.
All right.
Word. Nah. It's gonna be the most awkward pause.
It's gonna be awkward pause, but that's fine. That's fine.
But I was doing graphic design for different places, different companies and things. So like, I remember that being the route that I felt like I needed to take to try to like get to where I wanted to be as an illustrator, animator, the things. And, of course, these jobs wasn't going to serve those goals, but at least it was like allowing me to utilize these skills and occasionally be like creative. And I was working with Alex and things. Pandemic stuff pops off. And I was already plotting on like how I was going to be able to make my effective exit. Because I started to get like really cool freelance gigs. And I was like, yo, if I can make this portfolio viable in a way that these people that are hiring me would want to put me on someone's staff. So I still kind of had that job mindset at that time. Then, I could get up out of this, looking at these things tiered in that way. And then pandemic pops off, and all of us particularly meaning Black people, were beyond fed up after already leading up to a bunch of the BS that got us to like, okay, hold on, this is getting out of hand. Then pandemic happens. We still getting popped off during pandemic. It's like, you're killing us. We can't even go outside. You got to come to us to get us at this point. You got to risk your health to get us at this point. And that's like, I'm seeing these types of things happen. My frustration is bubbled over, but the only thing that I could really do is what I always do, which is kind of, lean into the art, into storytelling, into that. So I'm freelancing, I'm making more like politically charged things. And all of that eventually turned into a situation where my job just kind of eased me right up out the door. They found reasons to, a lot of them did not align with me politically. They found reasons to kind of pick everything apart that I was doing so they could let me go.
So it had nothing to do with how to protest, how to protest piece that you did?
Right?
Remind me of the title.
The Negro's Guide to Peaceful Protest.
That didn't have anything to do with that.
That was made afterwards.
Oh, was it now? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't sure about the time.
Well, because I made all those pieces that I collected in that book, that was across multiple years. So there were pieces in that as old as like maybe 2016 and 2017.
Yeah.
So it was just like years worth of all of this work. But then like, being very, very active at that time and being seen protesting, and then having like just massive amounts of work, and my voice being really, really loud at this point in time. And the writing was on the wall.
Right.
And then, I had a decision to make. I was like, yo, am I gonna finally push this button and like do my thing like how I said I was going to do? Or am I going to go and try to look for somebody else's job and be in the same situation? So then I decided I was just going to, do what I'm doing. And it turned into a lot of the people that were aligning with me and following my work for a long time. They had reached out, and Divine Karama in particular was like, hey, you should go and talk to the people at the Lexington Art League. I went over there, met Lori, and within the day,
shout out Lori.
Yeah, right. Like Lori is unsung in a million ways,
right?
And within a day, she was like, "Yeah, you should be here," and she handed me my keys. So then I walked into the studio, and this year marks 3 years.
Which is, by the way, where we are right now.
Yeah.
Because it is very difficult to catch up with you, my guy.
It has been.
It has been. Even when I was in here doing flats for you, it was hard to catch up with you.
Yeah.
Not as hard as it is these days.
Mm-hmm. Well, we were talking a bit about this off mic, but I'm kind of finally in a space where, it's like I'm having that full circle moment where, like, we catch ourselves working like crazy to maintain things that we already have, right? Like, it's kind of weird because, what got me started in what I'm doing was really all that I ever needed, was just this passion and love for the things that I do.
Okay.
And then, different people's ideas of what things can look like. Though, seeping imposter syndromes and just all these different things. And then also being Black in a space where there's just not a lot of us. And then, you get pulled in a million different directions and have a million different aspirations, and everything is possible. But the only thing that you really should be doing is only the things that are like really serving you and like kind of pouring into you. Whereas already enough of stuff that you don't want to do, like pay bills and pay taxes and whatever else. It's like, but as an artist, why would you get into doing anything that isn't pouring into that creative cup? So yeah, I found I found that I hustled in a million directions and accomplished a lot of amazing things, but then like really wound up back at point A when I kind of sat back and reassessed things. It was like, I don't really need to be this busy. Yeah, it's really, really changed my mindset on a lot of the stuff. So yeah.
So it's less about quantity,
more about quality and authenticity and all those things. And I feel like I've always made work that has been authentically me. But when you get kind of placed into the territory of people's ideas of who you are as a creator and allow people to kind of unintentionally box you in when it comes to reputation or the spaces that you're working within and whatever. Because as you know, I've been in the fine art space for a bit now.
Yeah.
And that's not where I began, nor where I expected to be.
No, because people would label your work as urban and not fine art,
Yeah. So you kind of you discover a lot, and again, it's been a great journey. I don't regret anything. It's been amazing, but to finally have a little bit more clarity, kind of cleared my plate quite a bit. And then I looked around and was like, where am I at? Back to where I started in the first place, which was the comics.
Right. So there was Mad Hundreds, which is still
the thing.
Still a thing. And more recently, it's Mad Wavy. You and partner Tony Wavy.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about Mad Hundreds and what's going on with Mad Hundreds these days.
So Mad Hundreds, as it began, was a space where it's my brand, but it was a space specifically created for artists that were kind of operating outside of whatever the norm or the
outside
expectations.
the fine art space.
The fine art spaces, even the mainstream comic spaces, the expectations of that. Because you gotta think like even within underground comic spaces and stuff, or indie comic spaces or whatever, there was still like different ideas about like what's the norm, what's cool, what's not, whatever. Like somebody is always some level of expert in something, but there's like ridiculously talented people that have stuff to say, and sometimes you get passed over if you're just not fitting in with certain things. So Mad Hundreds was made with that in mind of like, and again, very particularly, I'm speaking towards a lot of Black artists. So thinking about people that are kind of coming from the spaces with that we might exist in and our voices and things, and like penetrating with a level of quality that's just as viable. And so Mad Hundreds was built for that in that way. And I called it Mad Hundreds because it's that like very vocal few over here that people may not be paying attention to. And like for the hip hop fans, it would be like the Raucous Records, right? That type of vibe,
right?
But for comics, and which there's a lot of like great indie, especially punk representation in comics. I felt like Mad Hundreds would be like that hip hop alternative in that sense, and that's what that intention was. And then it evolved into the brand, part of my name, all of the things. And then Mad Wavy was aligning with my brother, Tony Wavy, and who is also this amazing visual artist, this ridiculous painter.
Who I will also talk to in an upcoming episode.
And like Tony and me immediately... Tony is sitting right next to us.
He's actually sitting right in here.
But Tony and me immediately aligned because we were kind of the same in that regard of like what we were trying to do and accomplish or whatever. And Tony being a visual artist, but like an MC as well. And all of these things combined into what we wound up turning into Mad Wavy. And Mad Wavy is a showcase and a brand specifically meant to highlight, not just local talent, but just what some people would call the urban alternative. Visual artists, vocalists, just any level of performers, MCs, poets, whatever. So Mad Wavy is a showcase and a platform for the people that typically come from our spaces and they call us like amateurs or unprofessional or whatever. So that energy that Mad Wavy has is specifically combining Mad Hundreds with Tony's brand Talk Love, which are both like moving in parallel with the exact same mission statement.
All right. So I do appreciate you sitting down with me today, man.
Of course, brother.
Oh yeah,
man. And shout outs to you, by the way. I don't know how much you gave your listeners insight into you.
Oh, this isn't about me though.
I know, but I got
generally what I want to do with this is talk to people that I've had the pleasure of getting to know for the most part until I exhaust that. And then I'll move on to people who I don't know and
Fair
people
enough.
I get to find out more about. Even though I may have known a lot of my guests for years. There's you, there's Justin Stewart. There are people that are pretty much new to me. Like Tony, for instance. I don't know Tony as long as I've known you. It's only been a couple years, I think. Maybe even just a year I've known Tony. And
we've known each other for a good old decade.
It's been a while. It
has been.
That's I would say it's a story for another day, but it's part of your story. So
that's what I was getting ready to say, because it's funny because a part of my story as the professional I am today comes with the first time that I was introduced to you versus even when we actually met and was like, hey, I'm Bryce, you're Sean, we're friends now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because you were cooking up with Justin Stewart and a group of y'all were together doing the things, hustling the comics and letting people know. And I met you all as a early 20s dude and looked at you guys like rock stars. Was like, yo, this is crazy.
Totally. totally unwarranted comparison to rock stars, but you know what? I will take it.
Yeah, because you got to think when you're looking around for people that are doing the things that you want to do, but like not just from a distance. Like you want to be able to like actually reach out and touch or have that conversation, and then have the added benefit of even like having somebody look like you and people that can have that kind of understanding of who you are or who you might be or whatever. Like, yeah, you guys in particular spoke my language, and you were showing me the thing that I was aspiring towards. At that time, I had never seen that, and I had never met anybody like that. So I was on the fence. When I had met you guys, actually, I didn't know I didn't know how I was going to do the things. I was scouring the internet. I was thinking about, man, do I have to go to college? I ain't know what to do. And then I met y'all and was like, whoa. And then I got to work. So then by the time I met you guys again, I had started the journey, and I was coming back with work of my own and all these other things, and was like, yo.
I think a lot of us had actually gone to college with degrees outside of what we were interested in.
Which I later found out.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. But I was like, I was years deep in having, to figure out how to get in the ways that I needed to for, myself, my people within my peer group or whatever. And yeah, by the time I had come back around and everything, it was y'all's introduction to me at that time as Bryce Oquaye, the artist, was my second or third introduction to you all as creators already. So y'all didn't know that you impacted a fan at all. Y'all had no idea. So like even at that, that's another reason why I'm so passionate about the things that I do, because it's stuff like that you don't know. That like the people that you're talking to around you that you don't think this is a big moment, that could be something transformative for somebody. Because now I have a group of brothers who you all transformed my perception of what these things look like, and it turned into my career. And y'all had no idea. Y'all were just like giving out artwork and talking to people and doing live art. You did not think for 5 seconds now a 36-year-old man was going to be sitting at your podcast as a professional artist talking about how he met you. It's crazy. This is not how I thought any of this would go. Me being a 49-year-old making a pivot into doing a podcast. Man. I didn't expect it. This is what's happening now. I'm coming full circle back to you. Life will life on you, man. But that's crazy because you're interviewing me, wanting to know my story as a professional artist in this space, and like I'm being interviewed by the person who at the time when I initially met you wanted to pick your brain about how you did it. Like I met you and was like, yo, how did y'all, like I was just immediately wanting to soak up game and figure out how I could be who you all were, or who you all are rather. Like I wanted to be like you guys when I met you. And now you're interviewing me. Inadvisable. It's like, nah, man. Life is just beautiful. Yeah, life is beautiful. It works out that way sometimes. It's super, super dope, man. It's beautiful. I'm happy that we could have had that effect on you because, judging from this room, it was a good effect. Man, it changed my life, man. Oh wow. It did. It changed my life. Yeah, like that's what I needed to. Sometimes you get exactly what you need when you need it. When you put things like that, you said insight into me. Mm-hmm. But I think me doing this is insight into me because right now it's focused on people who I have worked with. Mm-hmm. And things that I've been involved in. So in a roundabout way, yeah, it is sort of a selfish project. This is something I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Talk to people, and hopefully it'll be interesting to some other people.
and I'll just put it out there in the world and see how it pans out. And I like doing it.
Yeah.
At first I was had a little trepidation about talking on a recording with a purpose.
We've talked
taping myself and listening to my own voice.
We've talked about that in the past.
Hate. Yes, but I have to get over that hump, of like listening to my own voice and picking out the flaws in my speech and how much I say like. You know what I mean? Like, I just did it again, but not so much in this conversation because I'm being cognizant of it. All that being said is when I put the call out that I was going to be doing this, I got a lot of people who just volunteered immediately. My inbox blew up with people like, I'll do it.
I bet.
I'll do it. And I'm like,
yeah.
Imposter syndrome engaged. I don't deserve this, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, hey, as somebody that actively struggles with imposter syndrome, yeah, man, I got to remind myself very often that the things that I have, I deserve because I've earned them. And it is what it just is what it is. I feel like unless you're actively out here stealing, which even that in itself was like, you know what? Hey, you know what? If you stole it and got away with it, I guess you earned that too.
You put yourself at risk and pay it off this time.
Because every time I watch any of them Oceans movies, they look like they went through a lot for that. So
they did.
Yeah.
They did. It was entertaining for us though.
Right?
Yeah,
but I gotta remind myself, like what I have, I've earned in every facet of my life.
Good and bad.
Good and bad.
Yeah.
Good and bad entirely. And yeah, I think that's to be said for all of us. And I think everybody jumps up to want to sit with you and talk with you because it's like, yeah, you've got all these loved ones and people around you that are, part, family, peers, people you've inspired, all of the things, you know what I mean? So yeah, you're gonna be doing this podcast for a little bit probably before you talk to a stranger
for a little bit. There's a long list of folks that I really want to get, and right now it's just based on who's available and when. Like I hadn't expected to talk to you today. I had another one scheduled, but he had a truck die on him, and he's going to be without transportation for a couple of weeks. And I'm gonna travel to see him Thursday.
Okay,
just to get it done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The friend of mine in the stunt group.
Okay, bad.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a long history there too. So yeah, it'll be an adventure. I'll get better with my editing every episode. I imagine with every episode, I'll be more comfortable in talking.
Well, you seem pretty comfortable. Also, I mean, you talking to the homie.
I've known you for a while.
Yeah.
That's easy. Again, though, everybody I'm talking to, I know already. So it'll be easy. And if I don't know a person, I'll just pretend that I do and fake it.
Well, it's about time we started doing something like this. We run around with that voice. It was just like not.
I don't hear what you hear because it's inside my own head.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Now, I know what that's like because apparently I guess my voice is deeper than what I hear in my head.
Yeah. And raspy a little bit too.
A little.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting raspier as I get older.
Well, that just comes with it, man.
I don't even smoke.
You'll get that stripe down the middle of your beard.
Man, look, the second I start getting cool like Dr. Strange stripes in my beard,
I don't know.
Nobody's going to be able to tell me nothing.
I got half.
I'm saying,
I
man.
got like one half.
I'm going to be looking like, man, I'm telling you.
Hey.
Sean already kind of got that, he got that Bishop look.
What you call it? What's my boy out there I'm the new Deadpool.
The new Deadpool, Wesley Snipes. Oh, man, look, let me tell you something, man.
That was wild. When I saw him come out, I was like...
Yeah, I needed that. But yeah, no, Sean, you definitely give some Bishop vibes. You know what I mean? Because remember, Bishop was bald later.
You know his Luke Cage,
This is true. No, bro.
No,
son.
No, Sean is way too. Sean's way too tech savvy, like to be Luke Cage. Like Luke Cage is smart, but like Bishop is like, I'm a knock your head off, but also let me coordinate the trajectory from this multiverse to the next. I'm like, yo,
Yeah, he was a time traveler too.
Yeah,
you kind of
yeah,
got to
yeah.
have some.
yeah.
He said, "Boop, boop, pop."
Yeah, like the Luke Cage vibe would be a little bit more like mine, because like I'ma only go so far in the coordinates before I'm like, look, bro, somebody else do this math. I'm about to go through this wall. If I got super strength, I'm going through the wall. Sean don't have the super strength and be like,
Let me use a door.
I don't have to go through the wall. Rather, I don't even have to open the door myself. I programmed this machine to open all my doors for me.
Dude, you have tried to put me in so many different fictional situations. What you had me as a Gundam pilot at one point.
That's facts, though. That's facts. Look, for the listeners.
You know I'm too old to pilot a Gundam.
That's
at this
the
point.
perfect story for the listeners. So Sean here. Sean, we've decided for anybody that knows anything about Gundam, matter of fact, loose Gundam plot, mobile suits, and then some people that use the Gundam mobile suits, they have psychic abilities. And then everybody else that uses the other mobile suits, you might just be an amazing pilot. Doesn't mean you necessarily have the psychic abilities, whatever. But Gundam people uniquely have to have psychic powers. They're all genius, perceptive pilots and all these things.
Oh, okay.
So like that's a good synopsis.
Oh yeah,
Ish.
yeah. It's reductive, but
It's still a bit, but yeah, but we don't. That's another hour or so to talk about Gundam.
You're right.
But but Sean is effectively like we know he's a Gundam pilot from the way he perceives things, all the things. He's a Gundam pilot. I used to fashion myself as some level of Gundam pilot until me and Sean got real close and I nerded him and I was like, yeah, no, I get the Zaku. I get the Zaku.
Not the Zaku. Bro.
I get the good Zaku.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
like
Yeah.
like Char's joint, the Zaku 2.
Or maybe a tall geese.
Or maybe a tall geese.
Maybe a tall geese.
One that like when I really push myself, I get the nosebleed.
Oh, okay. The one that does physical harm.
The one that does
but doesn't kill you.
But doesn't kill you.
Yeah,
But you
okay.
leave and you felt like you piloted a really aggressive suit. Like that's for me. But you get the Gundam suit where y'all are like when you start piloting the suit, they start playing orchestra music.
We off the reservation now, bro. We way off now, bro.
Speaking a different color. What are you talking about?
We gone now, bro.
It's part of it.
I'm translating
We
pieces.
we off track.
It's
but
part of it.
That's fine though. That's fine. I
part of
don't
it.
mind it being off track. That's
I'm speaking in tongues.
I'm not real like
Yeah.
me and Justin went off track a bunch
Yeah.
of times. So.
Well, that's insight. That's insight into how these things work with us anyway, right? You know.
this is
No, that.
Yeah. The people that hear this, you might find this episode will drop. You're gonna have an uptick of hip hop fans and Gundam fans. All of a sudden, you're gonna be like, hold on, I have a large viewership.
what's happening? How did this happen?
They're all playing Gundam in Armored Core.
The goal, if I had a goal, it was originally to be able to talk to everyone that I know, that have a good conversation with everybody. But now I'm thinking the goal is to hand in a 2-week notice to my job and be
Absolutely.
like, oh, this is full time now.
Absolutely,
This is full time.
Absolutely.
You know.
Well, hey, look, and it'd be dope, and then you could do your full time podcast, and I'll find a way to snatch you right back into the space. You can record right here.
What I heard something. You have kids. I have 2 girls. You want to do everything you can for them, but Sterling K. Brown, his character in, I think it was This Is Us.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking to a kid and said who had a daughter of his own, and he was, doing all types of work. And he said, "Don't dream smaller when you have children. You have to dream bigger, and you dream bigger not in spite of them.
Mm-hmm.
You dream bigger because of them." And I was like, yo.
Nah, that's
that. I heard that today.
Well, that's absolute facts, bro, because like nothing made me go harder than, having children. For real. And I mean, look, even we can rewind back to when I met you all and you all had inspired me. I was a new dad at that time. So like I had just had
I was too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had just had my daughter, and there was a lot of people in my ear at that time.
Bro, our daughters are the same age.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Getting ready to be full on adults. And like I remember there were so many people in my ear at that time who thought that they thought I was being childish. They thought I was being selfish. They thought I was being all these things.
Because you're supposed to be miserable when you work. Bro.
Yeah. People that like, would have a conversation with me and, I may not be anyone's astrophysicist, but I'm no one's dummy either.
Nah.
And they would have a conversation with me and then like completely whittle me down to, well, yeah, you can just go move boxes and things, which nothing against that.
But that's not for you.
But like I knew that I had the ability to do something else and really make use of like talents I was developing and things. And
well, I mean, people do talk down to art.
Oh
just
yeah.
in general.
Oh
people
yeah.
talk down to music, art in general. And then if you try to explain color theory to somebody who doesn't respect art, it's gonna go in one ear and out the other.
But it's so strange to me how people will talk down to art, yet they consume it 24/7. Like, matter of fact, I think that it's general human nature to like completely talk down and dismiss the people creating the things that are vital for your livelihood, because you will completely speak. You'll speak down to an artist. You'll speak down to a farmer. You'll speak down to the person moving your packages and whatever. Like all the things that people get to reap the benefits of all the time. And then you think about the person that makes that and you like don't even, you don't celebrate them in the way that you celebrate the person that might be on TV, playing pretend for you. That's art in itself, of course, but It's just a matter of like, look at where we put the celebration and the things versus just maybe spreading out a bit of that respect to everybody.
Right.
It's a bit wild.
Right.
It's a bit wild. Because if the day ever came, if all of us, the artists, stopped making the art and the farmers stopped growing the crops and all the things, and everybody had to be completely self-sufficient. You had to entertain yourself. You had to sustain yourself completely. We got out of this communal mindset and think of the things that we love and have to be solely responsible for those things for ourselves. Nobody would be able to do that. Nobody would. We need community. So we should respect everybody pouring into our civilization.
Oof. Look at you, glove.
Hey.
Deep, son.
Hey, it's real spit.
He's spitting hot fire.
Real spit, son.
It's real spit, son.
Real spit.
That's how we do it here.
You heard? I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
We outside.
Outside all the way. Look, me, Justin, and Tank got to go watch. We got to go see Ghostface Killer.
Oh, you told me about this. Yeah.
Oh, man. Nothing activates you more than when you watch Ghostface Killer get up there. Scotty, scientific. My spotty stick the thotty, man. I'm like, man. I say, yo, let me get up. Everything that I do moving forward right now from this moment is going to be
your whole chest.
Man, look. Scotty man, the competition. Poppin' crispy. I said, man.
What is he talking about?
He talking about everything I need.
But he means it.
He means it. Man.
Come on, man.
Look.
I'm man. I missed that show.
Man. I wish you would have been able. Shoo, man. Look, you already know what Ghostface is for me, man.
Come on,
man,
bro.
Man. One of my nicknames is Black Fruit Punch. I stole that right from that man. Ladies call me Black Fruit Punch.
Wait. One of your nicknames is what?
Black Fruit Punch. He said, ladies call me Black Fruit Punch. I said, you damn right.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah. That maybe not for me.
I don't even understand why.
Hey, but you got it.
But it resonated.
Okay. All right.
Resonated.
Yeah, I won't speak on it anymore.
Nah, I'm more of an orange juice person, and I still run with it.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair
man.
enough. Yeah, man. So this was cool, man. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, man.
I really do. I got a better sense of how to conduct these things a little bit more loosely, because I don't want to be so structured that I lose how I talk to folks, or lose how the conversations go.
Well, and you gotta, I'm glad that you're able to kind of get off track a little bit too. I think that's a good interview.
Yeah, I don't want to stay on track all the time.
Yeah,
because the funny stuff happens when you're being kind of goofy. Like maybe structure in the beginning, get some pertinent information, but it depends on who I'm with. It can get real silly, and I want that as part of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I am not as serious as I look, and apparently I look pretty serious. So
that's good.
This will be a part that people who haven't seen me will know first.
That's because you got this look like you might know something that people don't know, but like on a deeper level.
I won't speak to that because I might.
That's what I'm saying.
And I might not.
Nah, cause I've seen you drift off, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, he got the anti-life equation.
Oh, yo,
Sean got the anti-life equation. Like you got that look, like Tony on the side. Don't Sean sometimes look like he might like he look like the watch.
It's because I'm bald. I ain't got these luxurious hairdos that y'all got right now. Is that what that is? Is my head big? Is that what y'all saying right now?
Well, I can't say
that hurts my feelings.
Well, nah, my head is the same size as yours. I'm half your height.
Oh no!
Somebody. One of my kids one time told me I look like an amiibo. You remember the I was so tight because it was a good joke. Well,
they got you.
They did.
That sounds like your boy. That sounds like
Jax.
That sounds like Jax.
You already know it was Jax.
Yeah. I had to put Jax in his place though.
That I'll never forget that.
I had to get him.
That was.
I didn't even clear it with you first.
No,
I just got
vibes.
I just cut him deep. I was like, "Whoa, Sean, what are you doing? That's a child, man."
Nah. When they start busting out when little kids start busting out these nuts jokes.
Oh yeah.
Nah, it's open. It's open. It's open.
Have
season.
you heard the story? Oh Lord.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I don't know how he got to that line. Well, I was talking to him, and he's generally a cool kid, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we were talking after a live art.
Was you saying something about like Imagine Dragon?
No, I said something. He said something about these nuts, and I said
it was something. I think it was something with Imagine Dragon because Imagine Dragon and JID or somebody. Because didn't they do a song for like Arcane or that joint on Netflix?
Yeah.
And it was Imagine Dragon and JID
Lord.
and stuff. And then Jack said. Imagine Dragon, and everybody's like, you was like, yeah, like the bed. He said, Imagine Dragon, these nuts across your forehead.
Oh wait, no. I forgot that's what it was. Oh.
They already be saying these nuts. I mean, how to tell them stop.
Now hold on.
I was crying. I said, "Yo, what?"
That was good. He got me, but he also forgot. He forgot that I've been roasted for 3 times as long as he's been alive. So he wasn't really ready for the rebuttal, and I told him very, very calmly, if I recall.
Uh-huh.
And I said, that's funny from somebody whose nuts haven't even dropped yet.
and the look on he turned red. The look on his face, because this was because this is I think what was, this was Jax was like I want to see like 10, fresh 11. I forget.
Something like that,
but
man.
that shit was funny.
Oh, man.
That was
But you know what? We've been cool ever since.
Oh, man.
Like, we didn't really communicate before that. Not for real.
Because Jackson would just come sit and play Switch or something like that.
That's my guy.
But after that was like, okay.
I'm Unc now. He shut up. So he was like, he didn't have anything.
Sometimes that's how you gotta diss the little kids, man. You gotta get them with the personal.
Wait a minute. Just that phrase. Sometimes that's how you gotta diss the little kids.
You know what time it is, man. Because these kids, because they start, they know stuff you don't.
Right,
like, because they speak a different language. They got what's cool, what's not, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So then you start to be old, they roasted and whatever.
And then you say something hard and real.
And you got to get them with a personal joint. Like,
Yeah, where's your mom at, though?
I would be posting up for a minute, man.
Oh, man. Oh, bro.
Oh, my God.
All right, man. We're going to wrap it up right now, man. This been an hour.
Yeah, I feel like you tried to wrap it up twice. I wouldn't let you.
No, that's fine, bro. It's fine. I still got to edit and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
but you still hanging around, right?
Yeah, I'm going to chill for a bit.
All right, cool. Hey, Tony, you coming back?
Yeah, I'm coming back.
All right, cool.
All right, bet. This has been Bryce Oquaye.
You're.
Until next time.